Pontoon this evening. Fair play, you've come on your only day off on a Monday. So this is Chris, Nana.
Hello.
Hello.
Should we start in the beginning? How did you start your business?
So it started as a pop-up.
Yeah, it was like a collective of mutual friends. We were all about the same age, and it was meant to be really a summer pop-up with the idea, because we were mostly all visual artists at the time, the idea was that we would fill a vacant space with our artwork and we'd have a cafe, but we'd also hopefully sell some artwork along the way as well and give us a chance to have a kind of a residency / exhibition space. And then the cafe side of it, the bar side of it, and the food side of it kind of grew from there, and it was it went down quite well. We got good feedback from it, and when the time came for the pop-up to finish, everybody was either heading back to their university courses or their degrees, or going back to their more permanent jobs.
Yeah.
The opportunity was presented to us that it was gonna come to a close, and would we consider taking it over? And this was like 2 or 3 days before the curtains were drawn on it, and we kind of thought, yeah, why not? We thought, why not give it a go? The worst that can happen, it will go wrong and no one will remember it. It's not going to do too much damage to us, and it'll be a learning curve, and we'll just move on to something else. And the best that could happen is, well, we had no idea really what the best thing.
No, we didn't really think about it.
We just kind of just took a leap of faith.
Yeah.
And that's how it kind of
we didn't have
started.
any plans, did we? We didn't have any plans for what we were going to do personally. So it was kind of like, let's fill that space by doing something that we didn't really think about beforehand.
In all honesty, from my perspective, when we took it over, the whole idea was kind of a little bit selfish, in the sense that it was like an exciting opportunity just to see what would happen.
Yeah.
And then 4 years later.
Yeah.
It's a common thread through most businesses where, that we've spoken to, where it is, we just went for it, tried it, and learned as we went along. Maybe you think you should have planned a lot more before starting. But do you reckon maybe actually it might never have happened in that case?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I think with whatever you do, there's pluses and minuses, negatives and positives, and with us not planning allowed us to grow organically, allowed us to find our feet and learn, and I think with anything, most people learn best when they make mistakes. So I think that was a massive positive for us. We were able to kind of grow organically bit by bit as people kept coming back to us, or we got new customers, and we're still kind of growing organically to this day. So they were the positives, but the negatives were pretty big as well at the same time. We've made a load of mistakes along the way. Like, we could easily start a book of what
how
not
to
do business. Yeah. But to be honest, we won't
do that again. Those mistakes, will we?
Yeah.
So Chris, you've defined very well what it was in the start.
Mm-hmm.
Anna, how would you define what Pontoon is now?
Well, we like to think it's like a little bit of paradise for everyone. So many of our customers are locals. They all live here. And we like to think that they kind of feel like they're on holiday when they come here. They don't need to go to Cuba, and they don't need to go to Mexico. They don't need to go to Jamaica and things. Yeah, they can have a little bit of that for one night after they've been at work, or after they've been on the farm or things like that. They can come here and just enjoy themselves and not think about any of that. So that's what we hope it is, with some really good food that they might not have tasted before, some really nice cocktails, some really nice drinks, a nice atmosphere. Yeah.
That's we wanted it to be like a release, like an escape.
Yeah.
So especially for locals, people that live locally, we wanted it to be kind of like a place where they can come, escape to, they'd be here, they'd kind of lose track of time, they'd lose track a little bit of whatever it is, their stresses, their worries, their jobs, whatever, and they'd come here, and like Anna says, they'd either try some new alcohol that they've never had before, or they'll try some new food or some ingredient, some crazy ingredient that's like only just come over from Mexico. And we'd be hopefully giving people an experience that they've never had before, and they may never have had before if we weren't here. And it was just, we just wanted to kind of create an environment that we were passionate about, but would hopefully make people feel good. And I think we've kind of semi-achieved that, because we've had some quite good comments in the past where people have said that they come down after work, they live just around the corner, and they've been here, they end up staying here for like 4 hours, and then they leave and they think they've been on holiday.
Yeah.
Can you give us the timeline of Mexico to start the business? Or
So we started the business in 2015.
Yeah,
September 2015, and then we went to Mexico in 2017 and 2018. Around January time, both times.
Was it 2016? We didn't go this year.
Oh yeah, it's 2019, isn't it?
No, it was 2017 and 2018, but we didn't go this year, which is 2019. Okay, 2017, 2018.
Yeah. And when Chris first started cooking, I remember when he was asked for the pop-up, it's because the group that we did it with, our family friends and like a close-knit of friends, and we all had food over at the house, and you cooked Mexican food, and that had happened a couple of times, and it was from that they kind of asked you to do the food a couple of nights a week.
Yeah.
And you'd never worked in the kitchen, you'd never trained as a chef, you'd only just
cooked food for loved ones and friends and family at home.
You'd never even thought about it?
No, never even thought about it. It was just a passion, like a side passion, a hobby.
Is it still a passion?
Yeah, I still love it. I was really concerned at first that, I thought that my great love for food came from cooking as like a way of giving to people that I cared about, and seeing, this was my big concern, was that I was worried that I'd lose my love and passion for it, because I would not know the people that I was cooking for, and I wouldn't have that connection to them, and I wouldn't have that self, feeling good when you're kind of giving something nice to someone you care about. I was worried that wouldn't cross over, but what I came to realise was that not only have we got locals and regulars that come back that you've now struck a relationship with, and you do find yourself putting things on the menu knowing that these people will be in, and you really want to try and give them a nice dish or a nice experience. But not just that, but I realised that my passion for giving people new experiences, or trying to represent a certain culture, whether it's Mexican food or Caribbean food or Middle Eastern food, in an authentic way in my eyes to that person or those people, was just as much of a passion as actually giving back to somebody that I cared about. So it became more about kind of being a little bit like somebody who goes away to a faraway land and brings back potatoes for the first time, and they introduce potatoes to people. I kind of quite like that idea that maybe people were eating here and they were having something that that's never been in this part of the UK before. And I think we've done that. We've brought mezcal to this exact part of the UK. I don't think it had ever really been here before we started bringing it back here. I'm pretty certain I've got chilies in that storeroom that I've never touched this part of Wales before. So
has that been a challenge?
No.
Getting it sometimes.
Getting it sometimes, but unfortunately we a lot of our suppliers, they're great suppliers.
That's come over time though.
The real challenge is the fact that you are a lot of that there's that passion where you want to be introduced, you want to be doing something authentic. You want to be trying to do these dishes that are what you consider to be genuine Mexican cuisine, but it comes at a cost, because you're not in Mexico. Some of these ingredients are really expensive. When we go down to London and we go to Mexican, highly reputable Mexican restaurants in London, they tell us that they don't put some of these ingredients on the menu, and we know that it's because of the cost. But we do it. We kind of take that cost on the chin a little bit.
Really?
And it's the same with the things like the chilies, you know, like I've got some chilies in there that I really shouldn't be putting in dishes because it's just crazy because of the value of them, but it's more the enjoyment you get that you're bringing this thing that you're really passionate about to people. Like some of these things, when I cook with them, they're also the first time I ever cook with them as well, so it's just as exciting for me, that experience as well. So
let's go back a little bit and talk about your biggest challenges and also your biggest achievements.
Okay.
Challenges, I would say, would be to do with the practical sides of running your own business. Let's be serious about this. You know, like we've had no experience in it. We're not that kind of that. Neither of us are that way inclined. We're both creative thinkers, so we're not really academically, you know, that kind of side of things. So the actual kind of practicality of owning a business is never really come natural to us, and that's been the biggest challenge, and we have made mistakes because of that, and there's no two ways about it. Like when we sit down, maybe hopefully as old people and look back on the whole thing, we would 100% say that our biggest challenges completely were the practical sides of owning and having your own business and having to run it, the paperwork, the accounts, all that side of thing. It's not an easy thing to do. I think in general, but for us it was very challenging, and so it's not something to be taken lightly neither. It was a massive learning curve for us on more than one level. So that for me was our biggest obstacle. Everything else seems, for me, everything else seemed like small fry compared to that.
Yeah, I agree.
I think there has been periods of time when we got to points and we were like, okay, I remember having a brief chat with Anna about this at one point. We said, okay, we've got something, this is serious now. We've got something serious here now. Like this isn't just a game anymore. Not a game like in that sense, but like this isn't just a hobby that we're doing on the side and we're passionate about. This is actually like a responsibility now. We're like into this. We're like committed.
How is that side of things with having staff being responsible for people's livelihoods in a way? That's quite a responsibility.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's something that at first we kind of struggled with. I mean, it's difficult because we're both kind of young. When we first started, I was 21, so and I'd only ever worked as a waitress, and then to all of a sudden become a business owner with staff that you have to be able to communicate and kind of set rules in a proper way, and I didn't know any of that. So I found that really difficult, and it's something that's come to us. I mean, we're more of a family here. Our parents have helped us like a huge amount throughout the whole experience. So having them as like the elders kind of thing,
yeah,
as the adults, has helped out.
For me personally, it's like we've never really like set like specific, none of this in all these questions, and the answers always all the same. There's never been any sort of like set structure to anything. So even with our staff, we've never really approached it, you know, with the typical manager-staff relationship. We've kind of just let things just seem natural. So we do things where people are surprised about, like we get people coming here and we had someone here the other day who's like Italian, and they were like, they saw us sat down with our staff at the end of the night, all sat around a table having food, and they said that that's the Italian way of doing things, and that was lovely. But people are surprised by that, and I suppose we are a little bit because we've worked in jobs and we'd never had that neither. But that just never really felt like it was forced. Never really felt like that's something we should or we shouldn't do. It's just something we did because that's what we wanted to do, and that's just one example. There's loads of examples, but for me, like the most exciting thing about having staff is that you have an opportunity when you've got staff. If that person conducts themselves the right way, you have an opportunity to be a genuinely good impact on their life. So if they're working with me in the kitchen, if they really want to, I'm more than happy to teach them as much as I possibly know about cultures, about other people's food, and give them skills that, in my view, that they could travel the world with. I'm not saying that they're going to be like high-class chefs, but there's always a demand for people that can cook and make food. And if they can even get a slight grasp on it, on a cuisine, you can take that anywhere, really. And it's the same with Anna and people working in the bar. It's like you have an opportunity when you work for us to learn skills that you can take to other places. You can do cocktails that I think are of quite a decent level, and food that I think is of quite a decent level, and there's always going to be a demand for that. And I find that exciting, that you are giving that person a skill that they can take forward, and hopefully a good experience as well.
Yeah.
So you talked about the community and the culture that's here. How about with other businesses in the local area? I know some of your suppliers are listed back here. A lot of local businesses. How has that impacted you? How's been the friendship with other businesses and the culture in that sense?
I think it's so important. I mean, I don't think you should really compete with anybody. If you all work together, there's enough people to go around. I mean, people come here and haven't got a table for them, and then you're able to pass them on to all the other places that you like to eat personally. I mean, you just kind of share it, and then also you all kind of help each other. So we just started working with Two Islands, and they now supply their ice cream. We have so many people that go there already, and then when they come here for dinner, then they can have their desserts for after their dinner. It's just like a happy marriage, really.
Yeah.
I suppose that's really important, especially in maybe a rural area.
Yeah, definitely.
Like this.
And it's the same with the butchers. So we use the Pichelli butchers and the Eden butchers. And we also use the butchers within Harlow Food Service and also Harlow Food Service.
The local fish merchants up the road, the Pichelli Seafoods. It's just nice to kind of be in touch, helping, being a part of the wider community. I think we've got a responsibility, especially if you're in a small community, to have a good relationship with other businesses. You're supposed to work together, I think. When we kind of first started, when this was kind of first taking flight, it really felt like the local town, Pichelli, was kind of going somewhere. There was lots of new businesses popping up, and even though a lot of those businesses were outsiders would think were direct competitors because they were restaurants or bars or whatever, to me it was very exciting to be a part of one of those, the new wave sort of type thing. So we kind of get really excited when you see new businesses pop up, especially businesses where they have an incredible ethos like Two Islands, and you're just as passionate about their business because there's similarities there. So it's just great.
What part do you enjoy the most?
Probably I mean, it's different for me because I'm directly like within the customers. So probably the feedback, seeing people enjoy their experiences, seeing families grow up. I mean, you have people that come here with babies and they end up toddlers, start walking, and then they've got parents coming up to them saying, a kid was saying they really wanted to come to Pontoon today. It was either the beach or Pontoon. He chose Pontoon. It's just like really weird to think about stuff like that. That's probably my favourite, is just like the feedback and seeing Pontoon as part of something enjoyable to do in the community.
Yeah, I agree.
People want to celebrate their birthdays here and celebrate anniversaries and things like that, and it's really nice to have that kind of impact on people's lives.
And people say, things like, don't go to Mexico because we don't want you to close. Don't go to Mexico because we don't want you to close. Or people say, don't close, full stop. What else was there? I think what Anna's saying is right. It's when people say things that reflect what you feel like the business is about. So when people do say things like we feel like we've gone on vacation, feel like we've been away, those things are really nice because it kind of you actually think, okay, maybe we're actually getting the message across of what we think the business is like. But then sometimes you get comments that really surprise you, like the whole beach. You've got a choice between beach or the pontoon. The kid wants to come to pontoon, or we've had quite a few nice things. You know, when people come up to me and they ask me about the food and they have a genuine interest in the food, I really love that. That's great because not only is it nice to know that people are enjoying our food, but also that experience that they've had has sparked an interest in whatever it is that they're eating. So it's moments like that is quite special, yeah.
And also, it's just really nice looking back and seeing where it has come from. So like the 4 years have just like flown by. And when you look back at photos and you think back to those times, it's like you have come a hell of a long way. That's a really nice thing to think about.
And I really like it when you have when you start to build great relationships with the customers. There's people that if they don't come in, you start to miss them. I really like that. You know, like people come and eat here and they come walk past the hatch, and even if you're really busy or you look stressed, they'll quickly say goodbye to you. And it's nice that, you know, when you remember that if you hadn't had this place, you would probably never cross paths with that person. But now there's something that ties you both together. I quite like that. It feels like we're really part of the community now and stuff. So
you talk a lot about your return customers, and I know there are lots of them. What about marketing on a more general note? What has been your strength? You've spoken as well about how you've grown organically every year and still are. What do you reckon marketing-wise has been your strongest asset?
Probably just social media. I think it has grown obviously organically. Word of mouth is a lot stronger, I think, than social media around here. But social media is so good for people that already know about you. But because we're not on the high street, it's kind of easy to forget that we're here. So if you put a post on your story, it kind of jogs people's memory that Pontoon's there and it's a nice day, why the hell aren't I there? Whereas if I hadn't done that, then there's an easy chance that somebody would have just gone through their day and forgotten we were down this road. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, talk about location. You know, it's probably a challenge for many people when thinking of setting a business, especially location-based ones such as a restaurant or possibly a shop. How important is being in a really good location?
Yes, really important, I think. I think now that everybody knows about Chris's food, if he was to move further in town, he didn't have like a location with an amazing view, then I think he would still do really well. But for Pontoon itself, I think the view and its actual pontoon and everything like that has worked a lot in our favour.
yeah, I think the location is hand in hand with the business. But I think that if we had an opportunity, if we had the same opportunity but in a different place, I don't think the location would have been a big deal. We could be in a basement, we could be in somebody's loft. I think whatever it is, whatever business you've got, if it requires a location, you've got to create something within that location that goes hand in hand with it, works with it, but has also got something unique about it, and you see it as a relationship. It's not just you and the business, it's you, the business and the location. So I think for sure now, 4 years down the line, I can't see this place without the location and vice versa. But if we go rewind 4 years and we had an opportunity to go and open something in a cellar in town, I think we'd have had a different business, but it's still, I would like to think, would be just as successful, if you want to call it that.
And last question, but where do you see the business going?
We would like to do more things with regards to its appearance. if we are ever given that opportunity, there's room for movement there. We'd like to do things. I mean, there's things that I feel restricted by not being able to do in the kitchen food-wise. So there's loads of recipes that I would love to do. I think Anna's probably the same with what she does. Events, we would love to do more kind of events-based stuff. We don't feel like we've got anywhere near where some of the things that we'd like to do, and hopefully will do. And then there's other things that you wouldn't necessarily expect from like a restaurant to do. Like we would like to try and introduce maybe like merchandise into the whole thing, not necessarily 100% related to the business, but as part of it. We don't really want to follow set confined rules or whatever. We just kind of, if we want to do something, we would like the opportunity to do it, and just see where it goes from there. Really, there's loads of things we'd like to do. I mean, you know, we've talked about loads of things that we'd love to do. We'd love to do a food truck, we'd love to go out to festivals and do things like that. We'd love to do more street food events, we'd love to do like pop-ups, we'd love to do events here. We've started to do that with things like Day of the Dead, which I think was an extremely successful thing last year, and we're going to hopefully do it. We will definitely do it again this year, and it's going to be a recurring theme. But that's just the tip of the iceberg, and there's more things that we'd love to do like that. It's just, yeah. I don't know how far in the future do you want how far in the future, I don't know. I don't think we want to stay still. We've never stayed still. I would personally get quite bored if we were staying still. It always feels like we need a challenge. We need a bit of growth there. So, yeah, it doesn't matter whether we're here in 10 years, 20 years time, as long as there's something for us to move into, or a dream to chase, or like something we want to like delve into, then we'll try and get to that point. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe we're just going off in complete, or like loads of directions.
Any final words on the way Pontoon's moving?
I don't know, pretty much exactly what Chris said. I mean, we've got loads of things that we want to do ourselves personally as well, so maybe adding them into the mix. So going off in different avenues that's not just the bar and restaurant side of things.
It's refreshing that both of you are on the same, you both have exactly the same answers. There's no...
I think we've always been like that. I mean, there's things we've wanted to do for 4 years and we still haven't done it.
Yeah.
We still want to we still want to have the art/exhibition side of it as an actual official part of the business. We've never properly nailed it yet. We haven't sat down, we haven't really defined it yet, but there's still that side of it that we'd like to do where people know for certain, everybody knows that they can come here and buy artwork, either by ourselves or by the people that started the business with us, or other local artists. There's
It's the same with the furniture.
Yeah.
Like our dad's made pretty much all of the furniture here. That is something that we would love to be part of the business. There's so many people that come up and say like, where'd you get this table from? It's incredible. And we want us to be able to say that was our dad and this is his workshop, and you could ask him to make you a piece and that kind of thing. So it's loads of different avenues that we'd love to go into. Yeah.
It's interesting and funny hearing you that your objectives going forward are almost going back to what initially the objective was.
In terms of skills, what skills did you already have that, well, we may not have mentioned, that helped you start the business? What kind of experience did you have before that gave you the kind of courage or the confidence to go for it?
what you did in your degree, really.
Yeah, I mean, I did like well, you did fine art, and
Yeah, but let's...
and I did fashion communication, so it was like branding and things like that, and photography and things. So we've always like really liked visual, and our house is quite eclectic as well. So we've always kind of been surrounded by different artwork, different colours, those kind of things. But the first couple of years, Pontoon didn't really have half of the amount of colour that it has now. So I think as soon as we went to Mexico and we saw how they don't overthink things. They kind of just do what they want to do. I mean, especially on our last visit, we went to a guy in Guadalajara, and it was like the best visual restaurant we ever went to. And it was just one guy and his friend. His friend was the cook. And he would just walk around and communicate with everyone. And we asked him, like, we were like, this place is incredible. Each room was different. And he said he's put everything that he loves about Mexico in one place. Yeah, everything that he is so proud about, his own culture, in one place. He doesn't overthink it. It's just that.
It's like if Mexico was a family and they had a house, that house would be Mexico. It was like pretty an amazing experience. It felt
beautiful.
Really intimate as well. Like you actually felt like you were in somebody's private home.
Yeah.
But in a nice, in all the good ways.
It was just so like free and hadn't thought about anything, and that's exactly what we want Pontoon to be like. We don't want to feel like we're restrained to do something. We just want to, if we think that table needs a bit of colour on it, then that's what we should do.
But like skills wise, like Anna, her degree was like fashion communication. So like when she was doing her degree, especially towards the back end of it, you did a load of stuff to do with catalogues,
publications,
publication, marketing to do with fashion, and I was a massive fan of that. I thought she did really well, and I wasn't the only person. Like she got an award for it for what she did in her degree, and I think that's definitely been an asset to the business. A lot of the advertising side of things has been through Anna and through Anna's creativity, so that's definitely 100% skills that she brought to the table for sure.
I think Chris's main, like from my perspective, Chris's main skills for Pontoon that has like made it what it is his passion for history and especially Mexico. So he's always been so passionate about Mexico's history and other cultures around the world. And I think that's where the whole world foods, Mexico side of things, which has made Pontoon so different in this area, that's where that's come from. I don't know whether it's a skill, but it's definitely a passion.
We talked about ecosystem and the business links, but what did your support and the ecosystem do? So like, what did the parents do?
So our parents have been huge. Like our mum works with us every day.
Now, yeah.
Yeah. She's always been there through everything, and so is our dad. I mean, our dad is incredibly creative himself. I mean, if we just have a conversation in the background about something that we might want to do, he's just straight away, he's on like, wow, I think this would look quite cool and this kind of thing. And he just randomly comes out with these pieces of wood and he's like, oh, this would look great. And it's just so nice to be at home and still have that kind of like creative bouncing off group kind of thing.
If you take like even just our father out of the equation, if you take him out of the equation and you'd be sat here now, I have no idea. Apart from this mural, I'd have, and even the shelves on the mural is his and the lights on them is his input on the mural. So this place would look completely different. I mean, we're talking like the furniture would be like. I mean, I think through him on the practical and the creative side of things, through his furniture, through his lighting, through doing the signs and the palm tree, which has become a bit of almost a part of our branding now. If we hadn't have had him with that input, then I think we would this place would look maybe at 10%, whereas before I said it'd be kind of like at 60%.
Yeah.
I think we'd be at 10%. Because we wouldn't have been able to do, not with all the other stuff we're doing, and skills-wise, we couldn't have made a wooden palm tree. So
we probably could have, but it just wouldn't have looked great.
No. Probably would have been like a wooden Christmas tree.
Yeah.
One business tip each. There's a startup, people that you said you've been running this 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
If there was somebody at the beginning of that 4-year journey, what one tip do you think you would give them? Who's going first?
You go first.
I'd say take your time. Kind of like, don't just like go crazy straight away, because you can easily just kind of feel overwhelmed if you take on too much. I think just take your time and let it kind of grow organically can help business wise, but also like personally. If we were as busy as we are now at the start, had we like planned and marketed loads before we opened and things like that, we would have drowned because we weren't ready for this busyness. We didn't have the team, we didn't have the knowledge, we didn't have the skills. So I think that if it is like a brand new venture, and you've not kind of done this kind of thing before, do it a step at a time. Don't just
Yeah, I agree.
slide in there.
I think for us, it's helped us by doing the whole growing it organically, step by step. That's definitely helped us big time. I think my number one bit of advice would be, no matter what the business is you're doing, is to really try and develop an identity, what it is that you want the business to be, and don't listen to anybody else. You know, if you want to do a restaurant, don't feel like you have to have your food to look a certain way, or you have to do a certain type of food. If we listened to other people, we'd be doing chicken nuggets for kids. You know, don't feel like you have to give everybody what they say they want. Be true to yourself, what you believe in, what you want the business to be, and stick to it, because I think not only will you end up being happier because the business will feel like it's kind of like your baby, but also you will then attract regular customers that will keep coming back to you because they love you for who you are and what your business is, rather than you're just another knockoff of something else. That's what I would say. It doesn't matter what it is that you want to do in business, whether it's clothing, whatever, just to have an identity, be strong, stick to it, and stay true to those core values, and just try and grow it how you want it to, how you envisioned it to be. But also don't be narrow-minded, and don't close off other people's influences neither at the same time. It's kind of like a fine line. And the last thing I would say is, if you are serious about running a business, give yourself a bit of space before you start to think about it, the realities of it, the behind the scenes that not many people understand unless they have a business, which is the paperwork and the structure and the real spine of the business. Make sure you're prepared for that. Make sure you've got things in place so that when you start, you just do it as you go along, rather than kind of how we did it, which was kind of not tackle those things and then get tripped up later on.
Good luck for the future.
Thank you very much.
Cheers.